Okay, if you remember the song Let's Go for a Kiki, it was a song done by the same band that did Comfortably Numb. She's filthy and gorgeous. Mary. Uh, Good God, I've forgotten the name of the band. Anyway, if you want to go for a Kiki, it's like a private party. And I don't know if they've got nose candy and champagne, but let's go for a Kiki. Lock the door. They say lock the door because you don't want people walking in if you're, doing illegal substances. Kiki was also the name of a character in the William S. Burroughs novels. I don't know if you've ever read William S. Burroughs. He's been dead quite a long time, and he was in a Matt Dillon movie called Drugstore Cowboy, which was about a bunch of people who were addicted to heroin breaking into drugstores. He was one of his, I don't know, The Naked Lunch was a movie that was based upon his novels. And The Naked Lunch was about someone who was involved in kind of supernatural activities because he went to a place called Interzone, which was a place where there was these strange aardvark-looking typewriters. They were living typewriters, and they wanted their words typed out on their weird typewriters. Very weird movies, but very interesting all the same. And William S. Burroughs was a very strange man. His last name was spelled differently than mine. It was Burroughs, Burroughs, and that is the same name as Burroughs Business Machines, which he was, his family owned Burroughs Business Machines, which basically the family counted him as a black sheep, but he got a stipend. In other words, they paid him off every month, so he had money, and so he was a bit of a layabout, and that's how he got hooked on junk. And one of his first books was called Junkie, which was sold at 5 and dime stores and was very popular. People wanted to know what it was like to be a heroin junkie. What else can you tell him about? His backstory was he was married, and he remembered the story about William Tell, who was the English archer who was famous for shooting apples off people's heads. William Tell. There was the William Tell Orchestra. But anyway, for some reason he got very drunk and high, and he put a shot glass, I guess he was drinking whiskey or something, bourbon, and he put an empty shot glass, or maybe it was a full shot glass, on top of his wife's head. And then he took out his pistol, revolver, I don't know what it was, but it was a handgun, and he pulled the William Tell off, where he was going to shoot the shot glass off the top of his wife's head. Well, he missed, and he shot her, dead in the forehead. Anyway, he got off the murder charge. No one knows how. He went to Tangier, which after World War II was a very strange place. It was kind of maybe it was a UN protectorate or something, but it was kind of a place you could go to get away from everything. And in Tangier, he hung out with a lot of the beat poets. So Allen Ginsberg, Brian Geisen, and various other ones who are known as the beat poets hung out in Tangier, which was North Africa, north of the Sahara Desert. might be Morocco, I'm not sure. But anyway, that's where they hung out. And after Burroughs killed his wife, he had an appetite for young men. And Kiki was a young Arab man, I don't know, probably like 22 or something. And Burroughs used his alter ego, Bill Lee, in a number of his novels. And anyway, Kiki was always looking for a daddy figure to, give him money in exchange for sex. What else can I tell you? So that's also ties back to, because that band that does Let's Go for a Kiki, well, they're very famous. The song Mary is a slang term for a homosexual. Not so much now, but I think back in Burroughs' days, back in the 1950s, Mary. So if you listen to Mary, it's basically one fag talking to another about, don't be so morose or something. Burroughs also wrote about another younger man named Allerton, who he also hung out with. It wasn't underage men. It wasn't, like pedophilia or anything, but it was just younger men. He was an older man, and he liked, guys in their 20s. And Allerton was pretty much a useless kind of person. Didn't do much at all, but he knew that Burroughs had money from his Burroughs Business Machine family, and Burroughs would take him out drinking and whatever, and try and pay him to go for a roll in the hay or whatever. And this is written about all in his very strange books, which I don't know. It's just part of this beat generation, and these people are supposed to be great inventors of something called cut-ups, which was, they wrote their stories on old-fashioned typewriters with pages of paper. And what they would do is they would take the pages of paper, and then they would get an X-Acto knife out, which is a very sharp razor blade type knife, and they would cut holes in the script. So you would start reading off the first paragraph of the first page, and then you'd cut a hole underneath the first paragraph, and that might go down like 4 pages in the script. And then so 4 pages down in the script, there'd be a different paragraph, and that would become the second paragraph in the dialogue of the finished product. So this was called cut-ups, and it was a way of making kind of a bizarre, surreal kind of, oh dear, a very surreal kind of story. And this is again why I come back to Frizzell, which is a very surreal movie. Now I have to look to see what my time factor is here. Okay, I got a minute. So anyway, to finish off with Burroughs, in the end, because he was addicted to heroin, he heard about the substance from the Amazon called Yage. And Yage is also known as DMT, dimethyltryptamine, 5-MeO dimethyltryptamine, 5-MeO DMT, or ayahuasca. And he'd heard that if you take this substance, that it will cure you of addiction to opiates. And he'd been in jail a number of times where they basically made you go cold turkey to get off the junk, the opium, heroin. So he went off in search of this stuff, and Yage was also known as telepathy, which sounds like telepathy, and he said if you took this stuff, it would give you telepathy. In the end, I don't know if ayahuasca will really cure heroin, but there is another drug called ibogaine from the iboga plant, which is a bush that grows in Africa, And many people have had great success with ibogaine therapy getting off of opiates. So if you are addicted to opiates, or you know someone and you're at wit's end as to what to do with them, usually these clinics cost quite a bit of money, maybe like $10,000. I don't know, but you can look it up on the internet and find an ibogaine therapy place. And if you got big bucks and you want to get off the junk, heroin, opiates, that's one way. I'm Bob Frizzell.